type of way. And the reason why I'm saying the problem why she probably
Popalot in here, y'all.
Huh? What happened?
We got Popalot in here. Okay, go.
Oh,
Mob
Popalot.
ties.
Yes.
Hey, mod him up,
Yo,
y'all.
what up, my nigga Mark?
Isaiah 54, no weapon formed against me shall prosper. Tell yourself, Deuteronomy 28, I am the head and not the tail. Tell yourself, Psalm 18, the Lord is my rock and my fortress and my deliverer. Tell yourself, Psalm 20, some trust in chariots and some trust in horses, but we will remember the name of the Lord. Tell yourself, Romans 8:37, we are more than conquerors through him that loved us. Tell yourself, I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. Tell yourself, Job 13, though he slay me, yet will I trust in him. Tell yourself, Psalm 27.
You spoke about, I think in this video, about Jimmy Henchman getting that Suge Knight.
He did? He did. Well, I didn't. I told you what Wax said.
Right.
I think Wax is the one that told you. I think I told Wax story. But I'll tell you how much juice Jimmy still has to this day. Tell y'all a story. When I was in the feds, some dudes that was in the feds with them, this dude that was a snitch, a mafia snitch, I think it was Whitey Bulger or something like that. He got shipped to the prison where Jimmy kind of run in West Virginia. If you know anything about prisons, it's all about races. The whites run the whites, the black runs the black. The Mexicans, they got like three sets. You got what they call the paisas, or the paisas. Then they have the 13, the northerners, the southerners, and the border brothers. So they got different Mexicans. Then you got of course, the islanders is what they call all the different other nationalities. And so they all kind of click and police each other. They sent Whitey Bulger to this prison that Jimmy had the yard, was big, and I guess there was a lot of blacks there. Jimmy, when they sent Whitey there, because the mafia wanted him, for doing all that testifying and snitching, they got permission. They went to Jimmy and was like, "Now he must be coming here because the blacks about to take care of him and look out for him." He said, "No, I ain't protecting you." He was killed 15 minutes within that conversation.
Wow.
This is all I'm trying to say, how the type of juice that Jimmy still has to this day. He did snitch. He definitely was a big snitch with the Italians. And the mafia brought up a bunch of them now.
So it's a type of thing where, the Islam has definitely, to me, has made me be more humble toward a lot of these dudes who I probably would have, in my prime, would have probably been slapping them. They would have definitely seen my gun, you know what I'm saying, or felt my gun without a doubt. And I go back to the compromising, because a lot of times that's what we end up doing. We end up compromising, and then we end up getting in situations that we shouldn't be in.
New York City, the birthplace of hip-hop and the melting pot of dreams and challenges. It is here where a man named James Roseman, known to many as Jimmy Henchman, would carve his path. Born in Harlem Hospital in 1965, James Roseman was the youngest of 6 siblings. His family had fled Haiti under the brutal regime of Popalot, Haiti's notorious president.
Duvalier took control of Haiti after his father, Francois Papadoc Duvalier, died in 1971. Both father and son ruled through violence, torturing and killing thousands of political opponents.
Seeking a better life, they settled in New York. Jimmy's early life was marked by hardship. His parents' marriage fell apart, leading his mother to raise the family alone in Brooklyn's East Flatbush neighborhood on Avenue D, near Rogers and Flatbush Avenue, and just a stone throw away from the notorious Vanderveer houses. Jimmy's older brother Kessler would introduce him to street life by bringing neighborhood guys over to their home. By the age of 10, Jimmy was sneaking out to hang out in the nearby projects, immersing himself in a rough environment. Jimmy's first taste of criminal activity came early. At the age of 10, he would wake up before dawn to steal newspapers delivered to the stores and sell them himself. By 13, he had his first gun, symbolizing his deeper descent into street life. In 1976, a news report about a shootout in the nearby Vanderveer housing projects by Brooklyn's notorious Untouchables gang would catch a young Jimmy's attention. Somewhat fascinated by the notoriety, he would soon become a member.
Well, when I was a kid, I was part of a Jamaican gang called the Untouchables. And basically, the Untouchables, you know, everything in the streets, you basically take from TV or from the movie. You know what I'm saying? Like back in the days, our gangster movies was westerns. Everybody thought they was cowboys. You know what I'm saying? Nowadays, dudes think they, I guess, Steven Seagal or, you know what I'm saying? Or other, you know, Arnold Schwarzenegger or whatever. But back in those days, you know, we all imitated westerns. We imitated, you know, the only TV show with gangsters was the Untouchables with Elliot Ness and those type of things. So we took on the name the Untouchables, and that was basically because it was hard to touch us at that time. You know what I'm saying?
Adopting the moniker Jimmy Ace. Jimmy's criminal activity would escalate quickly. By 16, he had been arrested twice for gun possession, and at 18, he would face a murder charge. By 1983, he would accept a plea bargain on the gun cases and was sent to one of New York's most notorious prisons, Rikers Island. While serving his time on Rikers Island, Jimmy would encounter a former Black Panther who would encourage him to pursue education. He would earn his GED and later enroll in college, obtaining an associate degree while at Comstock Correctional Facility. In 1985, at the age of 23, Jimmy would be released back onto the streets during the peak of the crack epidemic. Many of his old associates had turned from gunmen to hustlers, and despite his better judgment, Jimmy would fall back into the criminal lifestyle. Upon his release, Jimmy found himself in a transformed underworld. His former associates were now deep into the cocaine business. Jimmy quickly adapted, leveraging his street connections he made while in prison to gangsters all across New York City. By his mid-20s, Jimmy was waist deep in the drug trade, and a routine drug transaction would turn violent when an attempted robbery/kidnapping would leave him with gunshot wounds to his hand, arm, and a graze to his head.
When you know any day you walk out there that, you know, that might be your last time you walk out there. When you check your gun, you check that gun extra when you walking out that house. You know what I'm saying? And you don't only carry the gun, you put an extra knife in the back just in case a struggle ensue and on some you know, close combat or something. Exactly. You know what I'm saying? But you know, that's when you know it's serious. When you walking out that crib and you check again to see if that bullet is in that chamber, and you make sure that switchblade is in that back in your back pocket.
In 1989, New York City recorded 1,905 murders, reflecting the height of the city's violent crime crisis, fueled by the crack epidemic. Several years after the drug first flooded the streets in the mid-1980s, the trade had grown increasingly deadly and territorial, with drug crews fighting for dominance in neighborhoods across the 5 boroughs. The city, under Mayor Koch until the end of the year, and then David Dinkins, struggled to control the spiraling violence. Meanwhile, Mario Cuomo was serving as the governor of New York, overseeing the state grappling with a broader impact of crime and drug addiction. The surge in murders would continue into 1990, when the city would hit an all-time high of 2,245 homicides, marking an era of extreme violence. Although New York City was not the murder capital of the United States in terms of per capita homicide rates, it had more murders than any other city or state in both of those respective years, making it the deadliest place in the country by total numbers. And with the drug game becoming becoming increasingly violent and risky. By the 1990s, Jimmy, exactly like Harlem hustler AZ Faison with his rap crew, MOBB Style, began shifting his focus to the music industry. And it was an event that he would help create that he would have a chance encounter with a hip-hop icon that would change everything.
A friend of mine's did. He had a guy by the name of R. Kelly, of course, an MGM in public announcement. We did a birthday party for Fab Five Freddy. And of course, with Fab Five Freddy having Yo MTV Raps at the time, it brought in other people from MTV.
I was in Florida and I brought all of this down in Florida. That's where all my family members is at, and that's where Uncle Dave was at. Uncle Dave had a house down there. That's where we're going to talk about later on the How Could I Be Down down there with, you know, Five Freddy and everything, first birthday party.
This is when David Hyatt comes to me and say he had a music company. He was talking about, if you want to help me fly some people down to Miami and do a big party, and he can bring Ice Cube and Fab Five Freddy, I jumped to it. I gave him $50,000 to charter a plane, and that was when I first met Fab. And me and him pretty much kicked it off, because I knew he was from Brooklyn. I was from Brooklyn. It was just a moment.
Well, I'm here in the Jamaican hot pot. Now my man Jimmy Ace. What's up, Jimmy?
What's going on, Fab?
Everything's cool?
Everything cool.
Alright. And I'd like to welcome Buju Banton to Yo MTV Raps.
Enough respect. I'm big up all the massive every time.
Yeah. Buju Banton, Jimmy Ace. We were all down at Sunsplash this year at 1992 hanging out. Me and Jimmy was just hanging out, watching the artists. And Buju was one of the artists that performed this year, who's a new artist in the reggae world. We just happened to be hanging out up in Harlem, so we figured food was appropriate. We got rice and peas here. What's this we got over here, Jimmy?
Got some jerk chicken.
And over here, Buju, what's that?
Well, this is some Jamaican style steamed fish, you know?
Well, I'm here in the Jamaican hot pot. Now my man...
One of the best artists that really stuck out in my mind was, you know, Dennis Brown, who is the king of reggae. Yeah, on Singers Night. But, you know, on dancehall, you know, Buju and everybody else, and Mad Cabra and Tony Rebel, that mash it up.
That's right, yes. You know, there's singers in reggae. Well,
one of the best artists that really stuck out in my mind was, you know, Dennis Brown, who is the king of reggae. Yeah, on Singers Night. But, you know, on dancehall, you know, Buju and everybody else, and Mad Cabra and Tony Rebel, that mash it up.
That's right, yes. You know, there's singers in reggae, like people like you just saw Barrington Levy, who's real major, and just a whole diverse music. We love it every time on Yo MTV Raps as we just unwind and get ready to kick back and pick our teeth in the Jamaican hot pot, right, Buju?
Yeah, man, every time, see?
Yeah. So, cool. Well, we want to thank Buju for coming by, hanging out with us. I wish you all the best.
Well, enough respect to MTV every time, and all the MTV masters just big it up, see?
You heard it live from Buju, my man Jimmy Ace.
Most definitely. I'm going to see you next year at Sunsplash.
You know we going down there, baby. We got the plane tickets already.
All right, brother. I'll see you down there. 93 Sunsplash.
Yeah, man.
Performing their latest single, Shoot, which is rocking it up the charts. Please give it up for Salt-N-Pepa.
The year was 1993, and Jimmy Henchman, rumored to be dating one of hip-hop's most influential female voices, and it would be his connections that would lead to something special. The group she was a part of, once hailed as the female Run DMC and the first ladies of hip-hop, had dominated the charts in the past, but it had been several years since their last album, and their place in the evolving music landscape was uncertain. But that was until Jimmy, now moving behind the scenes, would make a key introduction, linking them with a rising producer whose sound would help redefine their legacy. And the result, a record that would dominate the airwaves, go platinum, and earn Grammy nomination, and put them right back in the forefront of the culture. And that would be a spark in a string of unexpected successes in the music industry.
So from there we end up doing the How Can I Be Down conference From there, I went on to become a manager for producers. My first hit was Shoot for Salt-N-Pepa, and the rest was really history.
I don't wanna know if you're playing me. Ooh, oh yeah. Tell honey straight off the back, so please don't even go there with that.
But one of the many songs that Jimmy will have his fingerprints on would be the game changer.
So then it was like, all right, Paris, you got, pull out all the stops, get Tommy Mottola. So he brought Tommy Mottola in. Wow. And Tommy was like, in between this, I had also partnered up with Jimmy Henchman at the time, because Jimmy had a group called Jimmy Henchman and Peter Thomas from Housewives of Atlanta. Okay. Were partners. And they had a company and they had a group out of London called Rhythm and Bass, who, Wayne from the group is really like, they're rock stars now. They're huge writers now. They're killing it. But we gave them Tell Me First. Wow. And came out on Epic in the UK, didn't do well. So we had that. So now the team is really me and Jimmy, because when my money started getting dry, Jimmy just started helping with me self-fund this thing. So, we took care of everything. And when we saw Betty, Paris got a little pressure from that, he brought in Tommy Mottola. Tommy was like, what do y'all want? He was like, you want this much money? You want this? And I was like, and give him a publishing deal. He said, that's all you want? Got on the phone, got everything.
During the 1990s, Jimmy would make a smooth transition from his street origins to establish a formidable presence in the music industry. As the founder of Henchman Entertainment, he was instrumental in producing and managing several chart-topping hits, collaborating with renowned artists such as Salt-N-Pepa on Shoot in 1993, Mariah Carey, and even Toni Braxton's You Make Me High in 1996. But it was the 1995 release of Groove Me by Groove Theory that would showcase Jimmy's exceptional talent for identifying and nurturing new artists, setting this achievement apart from his previous successes. Groove Me will mark a significant milestone in Jimmy's career. Prior to this, his notable projects predominantly featured well-established artists. Salt-N-Pepa were already hip-hop icons, Mariah Carey had achieved global stardom, and Toni Braxton was rapidly ascending in the R&B scene. But Groove Theory, an emerging duo, was different, and Jimmy's decision to back them would demonstrate his commitment and innovation and his confidence in their potential. And this strategic move would pay off big, as Groove Me not only achieved international acclaim, but it would also propel Groove Theory's debut album to gold status, underscoring Jimmy's adeptness at launching fresh talent into the mainstream. However, 6 months prior to the release of the smash single Groove Me, the shit at Quad happened.
He was shot numerous times, at least twice in the head.
I have my own theories in my head of what happened that night, only because when Pac came out the elevator, he was conscious, he was talking, he was rolling up some weed, he said a few things. I didn't see 5 bullet holes in Tupac as reported. And you can ask Andre Harrell and all of these people that was there. There was over 15 people there. How come nobody ever came up from Tupac's camp and said, Pac has told me that Jimmy did this? Why haven't these guys been interviewed? These are the guys who's lived with Pac.
I was telling you,
it was this letter I was trying to say it to you, man. When them dudes put out the pistols to me, man, who was that, man? It was these fools from New York.
It's December 1st, 1994. The rare, raw footage of Tupac Shakur in a wheelchair the morning after he was shot in Manhattan. Despite 5 bullet wounds, the iconic rapper is on his way to court to hear the verdict in his sexual assault case.
Did I mention? Promise to pay back Jimmy Henchman in due time. I need you bitch niggas just listening.
Following the 1994 shooting of Tupac Shakur at Quad Recording Studios, Jimmy Henchman was implicated in the attack, leading to him being labeled as public enemy #1 within certain hip-hop circles and definitely amongst Tupac fans. In a 1995 interview with Vibe magazine, Tupac would openly accuse Jimmy, as well as others, of orchestrating the ambush. These accusations would be further amplified in Tupac's posthumous album, Don Illuminati, The 7 Day Theory, released under the alias Machiavelli on November 5th, 1996. The album's final track, a sinister recording titled Against All Odds, features Tupac rapping, promised to pay back Jimmy Henchman in due time. But despite these serious accusations, Jimmy unbelievably would manage to maintain a low profile for the better of the next decade. After putting together a few soundtracks and negotiating the purse for the 2001 Mike Tyson vs. Lennox Lewis bout, in 2004, Jimmy will reemerge in the music industry by managing an up-and-coming rapper from the West Coast. At the time, the West Coast had not seen a prominent artist since Snoop Dogg, leading to high expectations for this new artist to revitalize the region's hip-hop scene. But this new alliance would inadvertently set the stage for another high-profile conflict, leading to a feud with a dominant force in the rap industry at the time, a person that can be easily referred to as the new generation's Tupac due to the distinct similarities.
If they have a different feeling towards what this project is, then they can move forward with it by themselves. But don't say G-Unit. You don't have to say G-Unit. I don't get anything when you shout me out when I created it. He thinks he does me a favor when he says that. When he says free Tony, yeah, we don't need that. We've been doing that for 3 years. You see what I'm saying? So you don't have to say that. I mean, he has to go on his own and be what game is. What game is.
So everybody got for the kids, man. Yo. Give me a sec, yo. Who got my chain? My own chain. I'm not affiliated, so y'all can have this motherfucker. Yeah, you know me, Mr. Throw Shane in the crowd. Give me the G in the chain. So you can see it's all big. This chain. Have that. That's about to be an ill fight. Straight the fuck out of town. And I got love for New York. But I ain't and I ain't nobody soldier, and I don't follow suit like J.O. and Space, nigga. I'm a real, and that's why they kick me out the group, and I still don't give a f***. Used to be mad at me, man. I'm a real, and I'm always gonna be the real. Documentary in stores, folks on planet worldwide. Y'all heard me do it.
I write death away from me. Because I believe death is of the tongue. I won't constantly say that I'm gonna, like, when the one time that I wrote records like that, Steve, when we was in a conversation and I told you about, behind the scenes, I had beef with Jimmy Henchman at the time. So I knew that they had put money on me, and this is why I was writing I'm Supposed to Die Tonight.
guys are not rappers, these gangsters. You know what I'm saying? Like the guys that I ended up having beef with, not Ja Preem.
Right.
Not Gang Jimmy.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? Like, so it's like, in these cases, like I kind of identified why he was so angry with his kid, with the little boy. You know what I'm saying? His boy got slapped in the face. It's like that, but Ye never slapped that boy. That was Mac that slapped him. You know what I'm saying? And it's because the car got hit. Like, when Bentley got hit at the mixtape award, like I had bought Yayo a Bentley, and the car got shot up.
I remember that
altercation. Now look, they parked the car in the garage, right? And I'm like, let me see what happens. So I come over there, I said, let me see the car. I want to see the holes in the cars. You know, I look and I go, oh. Nah, he just couldn't shoot. He was trying to make a move. Because it was right here, like it was like at your head level, but it just hit the center part. You know what I'm saying? Of the car. So I was like, oh, okay, so you know, you gotta put your dancing shoes on. Cause they're serious. You know what I'm saying? Like, I ain't trying to, come on, man. You don't push pause with everybody all go.
Normally, rap beef stays between two artists, sometimes spilling over into their entourages, but barely escalating to the point beyond the music industry. Diss tracks are exchanged, egos are bruised, and maybe a few scuffles break out. But in the case of The Game and 50 Cent, the conflict was much more than rap. It became a full-blown war, dragging in crews, managers, and even family members. And at the center of it all, much like Carlito Brigante and Carlito's Way, was Jimmy Henchman. Now, for those of us who hadn't had the chance to see Carlito's Way, Carlito Brigante is a man desperately trying to leave behind his past in the streets. A former drug kingpin, he wants to go straight, build a better future, and escape the world of crime that once defined him. But his lawyer, David Kleinfeld, is reckless, unhinged, and represents everything Carlito is trying to distance himself from. The climax of the film finds Carlito aboard a boat, caught in a situation he wanted no part of, yet unable to escape. His lawyer, a lawyer that got him off from a life sentence at the beginning of the movie, I might add, having stolen $1 million from a mobster by the name of Tony Tagliucci. Kleinfeld is desperate, facing certain death if he doesn't act. He manipulates Carlito into helping him break Tagliucci and his son out of prison using a boat under the false pretenses that he would be paid to help them escape. But once on the boat, Carlito realizes that the escape is a setup. Once aboard the boat, Kleinfeld ruthlessly executes both Tagliucci and his son, revealing just how far he is gone. Carlito knows he should have never stepped onto that boat. His instincts told him not to, but loyalty, obligation, and the weight of his past led him there. And in the end, he would be trapped in a situation that would eventually seal his fate. Jimmy Henchman played a similar role in the escalating war between Game and 50 Cent. As the Game's manager and head of Czar Entertainment, he had put in the work to become a power player in the music industry. But his past, just like Carlito's, was rooted in a different world. No matter how far he went to get away, Jimmy was still tied to the streets. And when the G-Unit Game conflict intensified, he found himself pulled into something that was spiraling out of control.
So right around that time, everything's going good. The Game thing is still happening.
Right.
And then Just Those Mixtape Awards rolls around.
Oh yeah. I learned from him, like, niggas tried to hit me with the sock passe. I looked at that as like, you got Game dissing us, friendly extortion.
Well, after everyone left the awards, your Bentley got shot up.
Even after all these years have passed, and despite all the research, it's still hard for me to figure out exactly how and when Jimmy became entangled in this beef between two music artists. But I definitely remember when there was no turning back, and old Jimmy activated.
You know, and in that respects, you got to understand where he's coming from. But there's certain innate that a have in him that just won't leave him. You know what I'm saying? If you coming up out of the streets, there's just certain things, certain principles a have. You're not gonna have no disrespect you.
Nigga tried to hit me with the sock passe. I looked at that as like, you got gang dissing us, friendly extortion.
Well, after everyone left the awards, your Bentley got shot up. You weren't in the car at the time.
I was in a bulletproof truck behind the Bentley.
But your Bentley got shot up.
Definitely.
And from what I understand, someone in your entourage got shot in the shoulder.
Nah.
No?
No. Okay. Nobody in my actual car got shot in the shoulder.
Someone that was with y'all?
I don't know about all that.
That's what I heard.
I'm just telling you.
That's what I heard.
In my car, you could go into that, but my car, nobody ever got shot in my vehicle.
Got it. I'm not saying that.
My car had big ass holes.
I'm just saying it was a mess after that award show. It was a mess. That's my point.
Of course, it was cool.
You got shot.
I got shot behind June. I went to jail. I got shot for June. I went to jail for a whole year with I had a shit bag, a colostomy bag. I did a whole year on the island like that.
How much did you get?
I was strong. I got shot 5 times. 5 times for the shit. I didn't come home complaining nothing. I ain't cried. I ain't tell nothing. No, I'm not that. Who am I? I'm a grown man.
So tell me that what happened that day. What you remember?
What, from the shooting?
Yeah.
I wound up. I spent the block on. It was Amazon. I think Club Amazon. I had Halim car. He had a Magnum. That's when Magnums came out that time. He had the black Magnum. Knew we had that car. So basically, I see Frenchie in front of the club. Frenchie, my friend, rap Frenchie. I see him in front of the club. That's when all Queens performing that night inside that club. Mano, all that. So Mano was coming up at that time too. We had 5th Bulletproof. The truck was behind us with both of the guns in it. That's crazy because they had my gun in it and my man Big Nick gun in it. He was in the car with me. So we just going up there regular to see, check temperatures and shit like that. I wound up stopping in front of the club. That's what fucked me up. I wound up stopping in front of the club to talk to Frenchie. He's like, yo, Job, you coming in? Well, I really came up there for him because he kept calling me. I'm like, I gotta go up there for him. That's my son. He gotta, you know what I'm saying? I gotta come. I wound up talking to him. Mind you, it was mad traffic. You see how Amazon used to be back then? They backed up crazy. The Bulletproof was behind us with the guns in it. I wound up spinning on, after I talked to Frenchie, I spin, and I hit the corner. Hove, my man Hove, Money and them,
Hove is Trav, older brother.
Older brother. Hove driving the Bulletproof. I think Money Ron's in the car. Somebody else. Well, anyway, they wound up talking to Frenchie too. That's what got me caught up. They wound up talking to Frenchie after me. I already pulled off to do whatever I was going to do.
So, all right, so this is your car right here. Frenchie right here. You spoke to Frenchie. Then you pull off.
I pulls off.
Pull off to go or just pull directly up? Ahead of the truck.
The truck was behind me.
Yeah, so you moved up and then.
Yeah, they were supposed to move with me. They wasn't supposed to stop.
Okay.
I guess Frenchie stopped them. So I'm like, yo, what the f was they doing? They were supposed to come right behind me. Immediately. They wound up not coming right behind me. I hit the corner. There's 3 cars in front of me, a few cars behind me. I'm at the light because you know there's a light when you turn the corner. From off the Amazon block, there's a light right there. So I'm at the light. I'm like 3 cars behind the light. I'm chilling at the like right there. I'm not thinking. I'm looking to see if they coming.
Next thing you know, a car pulled up on the side of me. Whoop! And start letting off. Boom, 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 boom. Mad shots.
You made headlines, you were in the news yourself when you were 14, 6 years ago, when one of 50 Cent's associates assaulted you. He ended up going to jail and then he was killed once he got out. Your dad was actually indicted this summer for his murder along with some other men.
But a friend of yours, Lodi Mac.
Yeah, but I don't want to get into much more into that because we got some shit coming soon, and you know I can't tell you too much because But rest in peace, Lodi Mac. You know the story. Like, I mean,
I know the story.
It was street shit.
Yeah.
You know, but at the end of the day, you know what? If I slap your kid, you gonna go all out too. It's the streets. You know, rules got violated, and it is what it is. But once you shoot my mom's house up, I wish I would have.
Right, because your mom's house got shot up afterwards. Was your mom and your sister in the house?
Nah, my mom's wasn't there. My sister was there.
Your sister.
But listen, at the end of the day, when the nigga kid got slapped, right? It's all fair and war. You already know what's gonna go.
It was the filming of the 50 Cent and Akon "I'll Still Kill" video.
On the paperwork, Henchman and them were supposed to come through, and I guess they gun jammed, but we had guard on that side, and they backed out on the head, but we had straps too, and that really was really it.
You said they had silencers?
Yeah.
And this was part of the actual report that came out?
Yeah.
Got all that time for the drug distribution. They told everything. They were shipping, back then they had the thing they called music boxes that you can ship to and from the labels. Label to label, indie label to major label. So he was shipping the birds and he was shipping the money, brother. He was shipping the birds from California through the Interscope music boxes to New York, and then sending the money back in the music boxes. He fucked around and had a nigga named Tony Martin that worked for him. That's the square. He's a civilian. I know Tony. Still talk to Tony to this day. And had Tony going to deliver something. Tony ain't knowing what he going to deliver. It's just a briefcase. Feds jump on him because they tracking it now, and they popped Tony Martin. When they popped Tony Martin told him, well, we send music to and from the studio in the music boxes. Once that came out, fans start watching the music boxes. There it go. They get the motherfucker at Interscope who controlled the music boxes. Pop him. He give him Jimmy. And on the other side, in the studio, as you got Tony Martin. So that's how Jimmy caught the fan side. Go pull it up.
When I was coming up, basically, I mean, we solved our problems with the guns, but there was times where, you know, you might have had to shoot joints. You know what I'm saying? It might have been a time where you just had to go knife for knife, bat for bat, or whatever it may have been. You know what I'm saying? But it wasn't always, the option wasn't always a gun, though. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, that's beef to me, when a nigga got to check that chamber extra. Just as, you know, right before he walk out that door, you know what I'm saying? And carry an extra motherfucking blade in his pocket, you know?
Giovanna, there are still no suspects in custody in connection with the shooting that left Suge Knight injured.
Apparently, some altercation took place inside. Somebody pulled out a gun and started shooting. A person by the name of Suge Knight ended up getting shot. Was taken to the hospital.
To really grasp the intrigue surrounding somebody like Jimmy Henchman, consider this. Within a span of just about 10 years, he would be accused of setting up Tupac Shakur's shooting at Quad Studios in 1994, a claim he would vehemently deny, only later to be accused of orchestrating the shooting of Suge Knight in Miami in 2005 at a Kanye West event, an allegation that, according to many sources, he would actually take credit for. These moments would fuel some of the biggest conspiracy theories in hip-hop history, good or bad, cementing his reputation as one of the most polarizing and probably the most feared hip-hop executive ever. And whether the accusations were fact or fiction, it just seemed like his name was always swirling in the shadows of some of the industry's most infamous events. In March of 2007, Jimmy Henchman's 14-year-old son, James Roseman Jr., would become a target himself in a long-standing feud between his father and G-Unit, the rap collective led by 50 Cent. While walking near Czar Entertainment offices in Manhattan, he would be confronted by Tony Yayo and Lodi Mac Fletcher, both known associates of 50 Cent. Fletcher, reportedly seeing the boy wearing a Czar Entertainment sweatshirt, slapped the younger Roseman and allegedly threatened him with a gun, an incident that would instantly raise eyes in the hip-hop community, as targeting a child was seen as crossing an unwritten street code. While Yayo later denied being involved in the physical attack, he would be sentenced to 10 days of community service, while Fletcher would serve 2 years in prison for endangering the welfare of a child. However, for Jimmy, this incident was more than just beef. This would make it personal, and according to the feds, he quietly began orchestrating a deadly response. Following Lodi Mac's release from prison in 2009, Jimmy allegedly set in motion a murder-for-hire plot to exact revenge for his son's assault. He allegedly enlisted several individuals, including Brian Slim McLeod and another guy by the name of Rodney Johnson, offering them at least $30,000 worth of cocaine as payment for carrying out the murder of Fletcher. According to federal investigators, Jimmy and his associates carefully tracked Lodi Mac's movements before striking. On September 27, 2009, Fletcher was ambushed in the Bronx as he stepped off a bus. He was shot 5 times in the back with a .22 caliber handgun. The murder was allegedly ordered by Jimmy, meant to send a message attacking his family had consequences. However, this particular murder would later play a pivotal role in Jimmy's eventual downfall. By 2011, Jimmy was already under intense federal scrutiny for allegedly running what prosecutors described as one of the biggest drug trafficking rings hip-hop has ever seen. His organization allegedly moved millions of dollars worth of cocaine across the country, hiding shipments inside music equipment cases and laundering money through the music industry. The FBI estimated that Jimmy's operation grossed around $11 million per year, making it one of the most lucrative drug rings linked to the entertainment industry. Law enforcement had already flipped key informants within his operation, including his former right-hand man, Khalil Abdullah, and longtime associate, Muhammad Teef Stewart. Their testimonies would not only confirm Jimmy's alleged drug empire, but also allegedly link him directly to Fletcher's murder, revealing damning details about the hit and Jimmy's supposed orders to have it carried out. In 2012, Jimmy would be convicted of drug trafficking, conspiracy, and obstruction of justice, receiving a life sentence for allegedly leading the multi-million-dollar drug operation. However, the most severe charges would come later in 2014, when he would be convicted for the murder-for-hire death of Lodi Mac Fletcher. During trial, prosecutors presented wiretaps, witness testimony, and phone records showing that Jimmy had allegedly arranged the killing. In 2015, he would be sentenced to 2 consecutive life sentences plus 30 years, effectively ensuring he would spend the rest of his life in federal prison. In court, Jimmy maintained his innocence, but turned to his son and expressed regret, stating his son's assault was not the reason he ended up behind bars. His own actions were. But even buried alive, Jimmy did not stop fighting for his freedom. In 2020, he would attempt to secure a presidential pardon from Donald Trump, leveraging connections with celebrities like Michael K. Williams and Jim Brown to plead his case. Trump would reportedly show interest, even telling his staff, "Let's get this guy home for Christmas." But ultimately, no pardon would be granted. A federal judge would later rule that Trump's vague comments did not constitute clemency, keeping Jimmy's convictions intact. Despite his incarceration, his legacy remains in hip-hop, not only as a once powerful industry figure, but also a cautionary tale of how street ties, revenge, and crime can overshadow even the most successful career. Yet, while even serving his life behind bars, Jimmy still kinda achieved his dream, just not in the way he expected. The same son who was once caught in the crossfire of a hip-hop feud, James Roseman Jr., grew up to become a high-powered music manager himself, shaping the career of one of the biggest rising talents in the industry, Ice Spice. And in an iconic twist of fate, While Jimmy sits behind bars, his son is carrying on the family name in the same industry Jimmy once maneuvered through, giving proof that the sins of a father could possibly contribute to the wins of a son.
Isaiah 54, no weapon formed against me shall prosper. Tell yourself, Deuteronomy 28, I am the head and not the tail. Tell yourself, Psalm 18, the Lord is my rock and my fortress and my deliverer. Tell yourself, Psalm 20, some trust in chariots and some trust in horses, but we will remember the name of the Lord. Tell yourself, Romans 8:37, we are more than conquerors through him that loved us. Tell yourself, I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. Tell yourself, Job 13, though he slay me, yet will I trust in him. Tell yourself, Psalm 27.
And the reason why I'm saying the problem why
We got Popalot in here, y'all.
Huh? What happened?
We got Popalot in here. Okay, go.
Oh,
Mob
Popalot.
ties.
Yes.
Hey, mob him up,
Yo,
y'all.
what up, my
Hey,
nigga Mob? What up?
Universal.
What up?